folks, and welcome back to our €1,000 E36 EV build project. Now, it has been quite a while since we've given you a video on this particular project. Part of the reason for that is that I want this series to be fairly concise, and I want to give you as much data in each particular video as I can without having the series go to something like 100 videos, because that's no good to us in this particular project. Now, so since our last encounter, we have got quite a bit done. The controller is built. We have the high and low voltage control box done. We have the front battery mounts in and the front batteries temporarily fitted. So what we're going to be doing today is fitting the control box and getting the high and low voltage wiring connected up. And at a bit of luck, we might even get to go for a little test drive if things don't explode. So let's have a look at the car first, and I'll show you what we've got going on. Alright, so on the car, as you'll know from last time, have our motor fitted. We've also fitted our motor cables. So we've our two power cables coming from the motor and our jumper cable fitted in the middle. We've our brackets fitted and painted for containing, or for mounting I should say, the control box. We have 4 batteries here mounted in the front of the car. This is all just very straightforward metal work. I didn't bother filming any of this because it's just basic cutting and welding pieces of steel, and everyone's build is going to vary depending on what kind of batteries that they're using and what kind of vehicle that you're converting. Now, what you may note here is that we're not going to be utilizing the Opel Ampera battery for this particular build. I'm instead switching out to these valence batteries that I have. Not because we couldn't use the Ampera battery, but because I need it for a different project. So we're going to use the same voltage and capacity that we would have from the Ampera battery, but just using these valence batteries instead. So although it's going to look a little bit different than I had intended, electrically it's going to be quite the same. So we're pretty much ready now to start dropping in our control box. So let's go have a look at the control box. Now, the control box is primarily made out of one of the covers of one of those horrible Enova inverters that I've painted up and drilled in our glands for bringing cables in and out, mounted our motor controller that we built in our last episodes, and some of the usual high voltage controls, contactors, pre-charge, fuse, shunt, some wiring. So the high voltage side of this build is quite simple. Over here on the right then we have some of the low voltage components, 12 volt fuse box, 12 volt relays, and some 12 volt wiring. This is an air cooled controller, and so underneath here, how well this is going to come out, but we have a large 10-inch car radiator fan mounted on the bottom, which is going to draw air down in here and in here at the back and draw it down and out the bottom of the box. Now, I know that a lot of you guys will want detail on the wiring of the control box, and that's going to be coming up in a separate episode. In fact, I would probably do a live stream on that as well, so that you can ask questions, because it seems to be this is where people tend to not really understand what needs to be done to get the vehicle moving. So our plan now is to get this box and install it into the car here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, bring in some of the cables, and we'll come back then when we have some of this stuff wired up. Alrighty folks, so we have our electrical box installed. Don't mind the wiring mess job here at the minute. Those are just cables that we don't really need. We got everything wired up in here from the low voltage side, so we've got power and all going on there. We got our front 4 batteries installed and wired up. Of the most positive terminal coming off this battery here goes in to the positive contactor. I have a temporary wire here, which is just this guy, giving me a negative from this battery here. So we're basically running our traction system just on the 4 batteries here, giving us about 52-53 volts for testing. So when we've all the batteries in, because back here in the boot area we're going to have 3 here in the wheel well, and I'm going to have 3 up here in the back. So we'll have 6 in the back, 4 in the front for nominally about 135 volts or so. But before we go to that extreme, just wanted to get things running with a low voltage, just so we can actually check everything, check the integrity of the controller and so on, and make sure we've got everything working properly. Now, that is not the only reason that I had to get this car wired up pretty quick. So unfortunately I didn't bring you guys along for that. We will be doing a much more in-depth episode on the wiring soon. Now, why did I have to get the car moving quickly? Well, because nothing's ever easy. So in our fleet setup, the red arrow here has been in the kind of working position, as I call it, which is, you know, kind of with the car nearest to the workshop, okay, because I've been working on it. So then what I do is I bring the land yacht in here for charging, and I kind of shuffle them around. I've got the super yacht here, and what I've normally done is I've just driven the super yacht out, and then I can get the land yacht out and drive that around, and we have our LPG E36 out there. So great, right? So you'd think that'd be, you know, that's pretty much cool. Well, problem is that this morning, yesterday morning, I went to move the super yacht, hit the keys, started up, give a little flick of the old tacho, and there's a loud bang and the whole thing has locked solid. So super yacht's days of guzzling petrol to move it are finished. So I thought, okay, you know, wow, that's going to be a pain in the back, so I'm going to have to move this. So I thought, okay, I'll rig up a tow line to this. I'll use the E36. Then I go out to start the E36, and the E36 starts up and then starts sputtering and banging, and it sounds like the timing chain skipped. Woohoo! So now my 2 working electric vehicles are basically trapped between 2.2 tons of Munich metal here and a dead E36. So in rather poetic justice format, my 2 internal combustion engine vehicles are dead, and my 2 electric vehicles are working perfectly but are trapped behind the internal combustion engine vehicles. So we're going to have to fix that. So, waiting for a friend of mine to come over this afternoon, and we are going to hook up the super yacht and tow it out of the way. We're then going to drive the land yacht and the Red Arrow out and shunt using the land yacht. We're going to shunt the super yacht into the working position here. So that's kind of what's going on at the minute. So it's a little bit crazy here. I had a trip that I needed the E36 for to take this week, and of course that's dead now, so I'm not going to be making that trip. So it looks like I'm going to need me another crappy petrol car. So welcome to my world. But main thing is our EV here is kind of working away quite nicely. So what we've got is we've our power steering pump and brake pump are installed here. Electrical box here. I've got all the spare wires that I may or may not need just thrown down here. 4 batteries for traction, as I said. I've got to change these tires as well, but I've just pumped them up for now. I've got some new second-hand new tires to put on here. Got the car taxed, so we got all the red tape for the Red Arrow done. I've got a JLD 404 battery monitor installed there. So let's just hop into the car and I'll give you guys a quick little demo. I'm just charging the 12-volt battery in the back at the minute. Yeah, kind of mad stuff going on here, but so basically how we start the car at the minute is I've got the pre-charge working manually. We will be changing that, so don't everyone jump on the keyboard warrior stuff about manual pre-charging. So we turn our key to on. You'll hear it click there on our JLD 404, which is reading the voltage a little bit low at the minute. I have to tweak that. Tells us that we've got a pre-charge, so we've got voltage on our bulk capacitors in the controller. I can go to current there. There we go. So I got my battery light here, so when I kick the key to start, you'll hear the main contactor close and the battery light goes out. We're in neutral at the minute, so I can just give it some throttle. And we got a working tachometer there as well now. So there you can kind of see our controller is extremely smooth, I have to say. Very happy with that. So that's about where we're at the minute. So I will be driving the car fairly soon, so stick with us for that. I'm probably going to make this into a 1 episode, so sorry the things went a bit sideways on me there, guys. So stick with us and we will be driving this thing soon. Alrighty folks, success. The super yacht is now in the #1 slot and the Red Arrow is driving. So yay, mission accomplished. So let's go take this thing for a little bit of a spin. The keys are in it. My Tesla door handle still needs to be fixed. Alright, so let's go for a little spin. Turn on. Let's check we got some voltage. We do. Kick the main contactor on. Select reverse. Handbrake's going to need to be adjusted. And yeah, let's go. Oh god, that seat's not bolted in. This is kind of not non-optimal driving conditions, folks. Anyway, let's go on. The back end of the car is absolutely up in the air. The first thing I'll say is the controller, our fully analog controller, is extremely pleasant. This is pretty much spot on. Now, one thing I don't have at the minute is my little temperature monitoring device on the heatsink, so I can drive the fan, because we have a big fan in there. So in the second gear, I'm going to get on the pedal there a little bit now, and we're pretty much rolling now. Some junk on the road there. Power steering works a treat. Guys down there. Full throttle, 300 amps. Alrighty guys, I would say hooray for Mr. Tony Boggs, who designed our analog motor controller, because it's just working perfectly. Absolutely delighted with this. Let's go have a quick look and see what our heatsink temperature is like, just for a finger test. Alright, sorry for the kind of vloggy style video you're getting this time. Just an awful lot going on here. Alright. Oh yeah, there's no heat in that. That's cold. That's cold. So we'll be able to get our little temperature sensor in there soon, and it'll control this relay here, which will kick the fan on and off, and have a little speed controller then for the fan. So hopefully we'll be able to get that up and running. But yeah, so that's just with four batteries there. We've a movable vehicle, pushing nearly 300 amps through the controller there without any problems. Got to get these wheels off next and bring them into my tire guys to get some normal tires fitted to them, because they're horrible. They're way too big and they're rotten. So that is where I'm going to leave you guys for today. A bit of a different video for sure. We'll be back with new updates on this project very soon, so please do like and subscribe so that you don't miss that. And share it too if you want. Tell your friends how you can build an electric car for about €1,000. And yeah, so until next time, check links in the description, by the way, too, for some kind of bug. No, don't check links in the description for a bug. Check links in the description for my PayPal and Patreon should you wish to financially support any of this craziness. There's a link in there too for my GitHub page where you can download plans and circuits and all the fun-packed stuff that I do with the electronic side of things, including the PCB designs for the motor controller. So we will see you guys next time, and until then, happy car shunting.